Well, hello there. Welcome to part 2 of our diorama, Get Off the Road. This is the Nazgul from the diorama, and we are going to paint this up today. It's a very quick, fast paint for the Nazgul. But first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure our base blends in with our base for the diorama. So we want to put the same colours on as we did before. So I leave links below the video of all the paints, but I'm starting off with some wood stained brown, and we're just going over the actual base itself of the 50mm base, and we just want it to blend in with the rest of the miniature. Now what I'm going to also do with this brown is I'm going to add it to the horse, because it's the perfect colour for the horse. We want a very dark brown on the horse, and also what we're going to do is add blood effects to the horse, as well as just like in the movie you can see that the hoofs got nails going through it, and the horse looks bloodied from chasing after the hobbits. The Nazgul aren't the best keepers of horses, that's for sure. Okay, so I've got this brown. We're going to go over all the horse's skin, just to make it a little bit darker, just to bring out some details as well. So what we're going to do is all the horse hair, just going over there and around the face of the horse. Like I say, it's a very, very dark miniature, this one, so the highlights and will only show up not so well on camera, but I'll try my best to show you what I'm up to. As you can see the brown going on. It's not too bad. The thing of it is, with the Nazgul, because it's such a dark miniature, apart from the gunmetal we'll be adding to the sword and the boots, we'll be adding a tiny light grey to the actual cloak of the Nazgul as well. But there's not much more you can really do to it, because it is such a dark figure, and we don't want to over paint this miniature, because it's just a very dark, menacing miniature. It's like I said before, I've said it quite a few times, minimalistic painting can be just as effective as spending hours and hours and hours on a miniature. You can actually overpaint miniatures by adding so many different colours. It's knowing when to stop as well. Okay, so we're nearly done. It's just don't need to go on the underside of the horse, because you want that nice and dark. So the shadows. There we go, that's nice. Good. Now as you can see, we've got the brown on the horse, and it's a lovely, lovely dark brown. It's not overpowering. Really looks nice. It's a lovely, lovely dark brown, and as you can see, it's just working very well. So what we'll do is I'll let that dry for a little bit. I'm going to go into some Driftwood Brown now and go back to that base. We'll just finish off the base a little bit more. We want that base to be the same as the diorama. So just add this lighter brown to the base. Keeping the whole diorama very dark, very, very menacing, scary. The hobbits are hiding, remember, from this very, very scary character from Lord of the Lord of the Rings. So we don't want to make it look a happy, colourful looking miniature. Okay, awesome stuff. Right, I'm going to let that dry and get the rest of my paints out, and I'll be back in 5 seconds. Okay, I'm going to add some creamy ivory to the base. This will finish off the base, and it'll be exactly the same as our diorama base then. So just over the wood areas, just to pick up the highest areas. There's a tiny bit here and there. There we go. Lovely, 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 lovely. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I am going to not waste my paint, so I'm going to mix some of this creamy ivory with some solid black on my palette here. So I'm just adding some creamy ivory into the solid black, and I'm making a very, very, very dark grey. Very dark grey. And that's what we're going to use just to highlight the Nazgul's cloak. And it'll just pick out a little bit of the ruffles and not too much. And this is what we want, a very dark grey. But what's happening is it will bring out all the details that we want on the Nazgul. And it really makes that cloak that he's wearing look absolutely awesome. So just nice and even over the whole area, over all the ruffles, all the highest parts of the cloak will come out nice. That's all we need to do. Absolutely beautiful. That looks fab. That looks absolutely fab. Super simple. Last little dry brush here. Let's go over the tops. There we are. Perfect. Fantastic. Now what we can do, and which I'm going to do, is that looks superb. Now you can the cloak is coming out nicely, but what we're going to do is we're going back to our wood stain brown, and we're just going to add a tiny little bit going up the tops on the bottom of the cloak. This is going to look like dirt on the bottom of the cloak there. So all the way along the actual bottom skirt of this Nazgul, so add a little bit of the brown. So when he's off the horse, this robe he's wearing will be dragging through the dirt. So we want to emphasize that on the miniature and give him a dirty little cloak there. Awesome. There we go. And that's all we need to do. That's all we need to do. So what we'll do is let that dry, and we'll come back and paint the sword, and we'll work on the harnesses of the horse as well. I'll give you a little 360. Looking fab already. So let's paint all the metal areas. Now I got some shadow silver by MSP Paints, and we are just going to go over all the areas which are metal. So we're going along the sheath of the sword there. I'm only doing one side of the sword. I'm only doing the top of the sword where there's a light source. I'm not doing the bottom there, and the same with the handle. So every part that we got the black on, I'm just adding a one-sided paint. So we're just doing the top part of the sword, the bottom half we're leaving black. This gives a false shadow underneath the sword. So by painting the top half and not painting the bottom, you've got an instant shadow on the metal. Okay, so all we need to do is go around all the harness and just tiny little touch where all the ringlets are connecting the lever. Now this shadow silver is a very dark silver, so it works perfectly for what we're doing. Just like so. Absolutely fantastic, looks wonderful. And again, just along here, it's just a hint of metal poking through. Oh, that looks lovely. Okay, we'll go to the other side, and again we're just touching the metal where the lever is joining on the harness. There's a little chain stud there. Okay, and of course the Nazgul's boots. He's got those very pointy little boots. So we're just going to add a little touch to the top of those boots just to give it a little bit of a shine. Like I said, we're not painting the whole things. We're just giving a little touch to the top of all the metal areas. Like I say, using the black to our advantage makes it work well with the actual miniature. So there we are. That's about everything there. A little bit on the nose there's a little bit there. Just, yeah, perfect. Lovely. There you go. So all we need to do with this miniature now is I'm going to add those blood effects that I was telling you about. But to be honest, that is all we need to do to this miniature, I think. Very, very simple, but it looks absolutely fab. It looks like the Nazgul, and that's all that matters. You've got a nice dark horse, a nice dark robe, the highlights are coming through, you got the dirt on the robe, dirt on the horse. So yeah, we'll just add that blood effect now. For the blood effects for the Nazgul's horse, we're going to use green stuff willed blood. This is a very, very nice blood effect. Now it is very, very dark, so it might not show up too well on the video. But what we'll do is just add a little bit and see if it comes up, and I can show you. Now all you need to do is a very, very thick paint, but it looks absolutely fab once it is added. So all we do is add a tiny little bit to the hoofs of the miniature, and that'll dry and look like dried blood on the miniature. That's all we do. Simple as that. Just add a little bit here and there. It's not going to look bright red because blood never looks bright red. If you look at any photographs on Google, it's always good to Google things if you're not sure. And this is a huge mistake. I mean, I did this back in the 80s. You know, I was doing all my Warhammer armies, and we all used to paint our swords with blood red, super bright red colours on the swords, when it would not actually kind of look like that. Blood is a very dark colour on swords and dirty, so you have a very dark effect. Now it's not, you can't really see it with my camera, but I don't know if we can zoom in a little bit more. So let's try. Let's get my focus. 1 second. There we are. Now you can see a slight hint of red there. When it dries, it'll go a little bit redder, but it does give a very nice effect once it's done. Unfortunately, the camera is not showing off the effect very well, but believe me, it looks fab when it's dry. So what we'll do is I will add this to the diorama now and show you how we've got on so far. Now in part 3 we shall be painting the hobbits, and that'll be our next next little adventure, and then the whole diorama will be finished. This is how far we've come so far. We've got the base finished, and we've got the Nazgul finished, and it's looking absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love this diorama. So I hope you're enjoying the show so far. The next episode we shall be doing the Hobbits. So until then, loads of love to every single one of you, and I'll see you in the next episode.